Hello and welcome to the partnership between Besty's Inspirational Guidance and Aaron Media Central. And Besty, this is the last one.
It is. It is. We've done a few episodes that's in this series. Who is Lionel Best? We've spoken about. I'm hoping people got to learn a little bit more about Lionel Best as a young man, well, as a kid, and then as a young man, and some of the opportunities that's come his way through the support of key people in the community. While I've taken over the baton, which is actually led to what we're going to talk about in this series, the start of Big, Best's Inspirational Guidance. When I started it, why I started it, and very much looking forward to it to conclude this series.
Yeah. Obviously, we done the penultimate episode yesterday, which will be released soon, and then this is going to be the final one. And we're just going to kick straight off. And obviously, you gave me some structure, so we'll go with the structure you gave me. So when did you start Big?
Well, I think it's important to talk a little bit more about the build up of starting Big. I think it's as I've said in previous episodes. I was a civil servant for 23 years, and I started in 1987. And I think when it got to about 2008, 2009, obviously by that time I started kind of getting involved in coaching and working with young people and inspiring young people in different ways. I started getting more of an itch to get more involved in supporting young people. At the time, there was a lot going on in the civil service where there was like a call to reduce numbers in the civil service. So there was a number of different redundancy schemes going on, etc. And when you've been in the civil service for a long time and always seen as a stable job for life, it's always scary, the thought of like coming out of there. It's almost like a bit of security.
Almost institutionalized a little bit.
Yeah, but it's like they say that the civil service has probably got one of the best pensions and things like that you think about. And when you've been in there for so long and you're now a middle-aged man, it does become a bit daunting. But I started thinking about it around about 2008, 2009, but didn't do nothing about it. But by 2010, when there was another round, I thought to myself, you know what? The desire was even stronger to get more involved in young people. Not sure what I wanted to do, but all I knew that this is now something that I see as my calling. So I spoke to a few senior colleagues, senior officials, some of my managers. And what made it even harder, I had a cushy job. When I say I had a cushy job, it was not an easy job, but I was in a really good position where I was in a job where we were in a high profile area, the work that we were doing, which was the better regulation agenda, which is all aimed at slashing burdens of businesses. And it was high profile for ministers and a big initiative in government. And I was a key player in my area, employment relations. I was the better regulation champion. So there was a lot of senior managers and senior officials that were getting view of my work. And at this time now, I'm at the top end of middle management, and I'm kind of striving, trying to get to that senior management level. And I was also working flexibly. I was a flexible worker, which, as we've heard as well in previous episodes, it allowed me to do many things. It allowed me to work in the school, which I still work in Liverpool now, as I mentioned before. It allowed me to do flexible working, to work in Liverpool School, because the main reason was that was my days to pick up my oldest boy. And then I became their coach. It allowed me to do play semi-professional football. It allowed me to do homeworking. I had a very, very cushy job. So it was a very, very, and I was in a very good position, and I used my X factors to do the work to a really good standard. And it was getting recognized. So as you can appreciate, it was a very tough decision. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I just knew I wanted to get more involved in young people. So in 2010, I decided to take the plunge and I left the civil service. Still wasn't sure what I wanted to do, But then I started thinking, I'm quite a deep thinker. I started thinking, what does young people need to thrive and achieve? And started kind of from a very top level. I started more thinking about more the internal sort of attributes and skills and tools, things that I could relate to, that I had, that was my X factors, things around self-confidence, self-belief, resilience and determination. These are the things that helped me succeed, especially in areas that I wasn't so strong in. But I kind of just used to always concentrate and focus on my strength and believed in myself, and it would always see me through and help me get through challenging times. I wasn't very, I call it educationally inspired. I always knew I wasn't stupid and silly, but I just couldn't, I've said it before, I gravitate to the educational system.
It wasn't particularly like, what are you talking about, more curriculum? You're not curriculum based, or
I think I wasn't very curriculum based. I had a lot of common sense, and I could work things out, and my brain works in a very methodical way, as always done, which is why a lot of my strength is around organisation and things that.
So maybe you're a bit of an out of the box thinker.
Out of the box thinker, but you can piece things together. Which is why I'm good at sort of like Excel spreadsheets. I think I mentioned it before, etc., which became my X factors, and my X factor became resource management. Very good at resource management tasks, which helped me in my better regulation days in the civil service, as I said, which kind of got me a lot of recognition. So what I knew, however, being in the civil service, I worked hard and climbed. I did climb, and I did reach my full potential for me eventually over time. But one thing I had to recognize and appreciate is my timetable and journey was a lot longer than others that put the work in at school and were more academic and who actually went to university, because you had people that was a lot younger than me, graduates coming into better jobs. I think I mentioned it before in previous episodes, coming into higher positions and getting more money. So that was really important for me to recognize, because I just realized that you just can't take shortcuts. So I wanted to do something for young people that I can relate to. So I started thinking, I want to go into schools and deliver a program. And I developed a program that was aimed at encouraging a more positive attitude to learning and helping kids to be able to come up with their own sort of like tools and strategies to help them resolve their own challenges, because at the end of the day, they've got to work out the challenges that's going to help them to become a bit more successful academically. And at some point, you've got to catch up in life, and whatever your timetable is, But if you can try and grasp these things earlier, when your brain is more like sponges, then I think it's easier. So that was it was a really strong desire. So I put this program together, which I called SHOCK, which standed for a very civil service minded, and I always abbreviate things. That's what I was used to in the civil service. That's why Besty's Inspirational Guidance is known as BIG. SHOCK stood for self-esteem, health, opportunities, confidence, and knowledge. That was my very first program that I put together, that I wanted to go into schools to help the youngsters develop a more positive attitude to learning. It was both indoor activities and outdoor activities. I wanted them to learn through play, but at the same time, I wanted them to also learn inside the classroom, because that's where they're going to have to try and succeed in lessons in the classroom. So that was my main driver that kind of led me to start setting that big, because I thought to myself, okay, if you're going to deliver this program, you need to deliver it under a name. And that's when I decided that I'm going to put BIG together as a sole trader. So I put BIG together as a sole trader in 2011. And that was my very first program that I delivered as a pilot. And again, in Hitherfield School. I've been in Hitherfield School for a long time, as you heard. And I must admit, they've supported me in so many different ways. I used to talk.
Seems like a really great relationship you have with everyone involved there. You know,
I do, and the head teacher, and he was brilliant. Like I talked through my whole, even before Big started, I talked through my whole plan, and he gave me a lot of tips and ideas, and he gave me the opportunity to deliver a pilot there, which I learned a lot of lessons from that pilot, and it was brilliant. So that's how Big started, because one, I believed that I had my own way, using my own X factors, where I could have a positive impact on young people. I believe everybody's got their own X factors, which is a key message I say to the youngsters and everybody that I come into contact with, who comes into contact with Big, even more older people, you know. And it's so important to recognize what they are and make them work for you. And secondly, I just, you know, I just had a strong desire. It was just my calling that, you know, this is what you need to do. So I kind of based a lot of the outdoor activities around football, because initially my aim was to use football as the main tool, because I've come from a football background. Football's been very important to me in terms of how to influence the change of behavior with people. And it was mainly more geared at young boys who had challenges at school and behavior issues. As time went on, and from feedback and different pilots and different programs I did, it became very clear that not everybody likes football, so you're not going to be able to reach them through football. So I then started changing some of the activities to more outdoor PE related activities. And that's how Big got going. It was a no-brainer that we were going to do football activities.
Obviously, due to your background,
due to my background. So not long after that, I think in fact, the very first program, slightly before that pilot program, was a football birthday party for my nephew, which I was piloting for the first time. And then after the shop program, I done my very first holiday football program. So, you know, those were the areas that activities that I first started with. But it became very clear in the first couple of years that I had a model for Big, because not only did I do the holiday program, football program, in year 2, I decided that I'm going to incorporate that with work experience for more of the older teenagers and young adults. So from that, it became clear that I should be doing employability skills programs, which initially, as I said, it was just work experience, but then it became employability skills programs, which I was able to deliver in my office when I got an office, because initially I was just working from home. And then I got, we reside in Brixton International House, which I got a place in the office in 2019. And we were able to then start delivering more employability skills workshops in the office. So all of a sudden now I've got a model with what I call with 3 different areas of work, which I call themes. Motivational school programs, recreational services, which I used to call football services. But again, I realized quite early that not everybody liked football. So for us, and football was just our tool just to get young people's attention through their own interests, and then start working on their mindset, because that was the key. And that's the aim of Big, to just use their interest to draw them in, and then start helping them to develop the more holistic side of their personality. So we then started to diversify that pillar, that area. So we started doing other stuff. So we do performing arts stuff in that pillar. We do other sports in that pillar, and we do other leadership programs in that pillar. And the third pillar is or area theme is our employability skills and other youth issues, where we do also work to support young parents, which we've had a good 2 to 3 different funding pots to deliver programs to support young parents, to be able to concentrate on their own needs and focus on their own needs.
Okay, yeah. So obviously, I think we took care of the when and the why. So I think we're going to do the what now. So what are your ambitions for big, obviously, in this kind of new year, 2026 and onwards?
Yeah, I think it's a very similar ambition, because just to give you that journey, we started in 2011 under a sole trader business structure on my own. We've incorporated into a community interest company in 2018, even though we didn't start delivering services until 2019. Progressed into an office, and widened the team, mainly the delivery team, in terms of got other people on board to be reliable, committed coaches and other delivery staffs for our holiday programs, etc., or netball and things like that. We've got some background staff as well, who does some work for us, and some volunteers that helps us with other things such as social media, and we've got our own bookkeeper and so forth. But the main ambition is to try and grow the team, because Big has got so much potential, but you can't turn your potential into reality without a team around you. But you can't get a team around you without support, and especially if you're like us. We are a community interest company. We're non-for-profit. We're not there to make money, but we know, and the hardest thing for me is trying to adjust and get the balance right into changing into more business minded, without bearing too much burden on the community that you're trying to serve.
Is that always, is that, sorry to interrupt, is that always kind of something you've been conscious of, that you may have to be a bit more business minded, eventually, in terms to keep obviously things running smoothly?
Yeah, I've always known, like, if things can't run smoothly, we can't get the money in. Like every business, you can't run your business, and you can't certainly run your business effectively. And, along the way, trying not to compromise our ethos and what we're there for, to support the community, is getting the right balance and trying to get the support from the right sources, so you don't have to put the financial burdens on the business. But funders will only fund you so much. You still have to try and generate your own income.
Yeah.
And then generating your own income means putting the financial burdens on the end users, and that's your community. And it's always been a hard sort of, not only balance, but, finding the right strategies to make sure that you're not excluding a lot of your community that just can't afford to pay.
Yeah.
And it's just a tough one. We've been quite fortunate, and we've got a very good funding history, but that funding history is just to support our community. What we need to do more of is to try and get more funding to help us sort of like grow, and be a little bit more, have a little bit more stability. And that's tough when you've got a small team, and your team is there to serve. And that's what we try to do with, and we do it very well with a lot of the evidence that we can show. So it's the same ambition that we have year in, year out. I must admit, it's important not to ignore the progress year in, year out, because there's always been progress.
Yeah.
year in, year
I
out.
mean, your
But
your
it's
team's
always
got
feels like,
your team's got a bit bigger. You're obviously, trying to extend other things. You're obviously working with me. Obviously I think on this side as well, the podcast thing, we're trying to grow that as
yeah,
well. There's lots of different things that are in the pipeline, really and truly.
yeah,
If things
absolutely.
go the way we want them to go.
Absolutely.
Mm.
But I think if I'm gonna, like, in a nutshell, I think, and you've just reminded me by mentioning the podcast, just getting the word out about Big to people out there, because there's lots of great people that like to support good causes out there,
Mm-hmm.
and we just need to try to connect with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if people get to know us and what we do, including coming down and just come and see how we work with the kids, come and see how we connect with the kids, how the kids respond to us and what they get from us. Come and speak to the kids themselves. You will have that opportunity to hear from some of the kids, because as Aaron's mentioned, that our next phases are inviting kids on to the podcast, and we can talk about some more serious things in a grassroots, relatable, calm way.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about other key issues and interesting subjects to them, such as football, Premier League, and things like that, we can talk about some other more important issues.
Even things with school or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
It's so important.
Yeah.
It's so
we can
important.
make it like a little hub.
It's so important
Mm.
to develop that hub, and for kids to feel like they want to come and talk about some of their concerns, or some of their experiences and some of their suggestions. For us to be the voice of many young people in our community, because one thing we've got a very good reputation in Lambeth. Most of our work is done in the London Borough of Lambeth. We've been the Lambeth service provider since 2011 when we started, and we work with many teams, Lambeth teams, and we've got good relationships with many Lambeth teams. And with that means, we had a lot of contact with MPs and councillors when we was launching our young parents hub, because we invited quite a few councillors and MPs to the opening, because it's a very important subject for many people, and certainly government. A lot of issues that surround young parents, which sort of spread out to many other things, such as mental health,
societal issues,
housing issues, and all sorts of things. So
you're just basically scratching the surface there. I mean, there's a lot going on, isn't there, at this time? So having even resources like this as well, I mean, is helpful for people. And do you know what I mean? I think one of the things that I do want to do with you as well, like, in terms of doing this podcast, is speaking to some people who are possibly in positions to, sort of speak about stuff. And do you know what I mean? Like, people in the right places who can possibly, obviously I know they're aware of things, but obviously, do you know what I mean? Like, through this, you can send some good, positive, and sort of maybe messages to these people.
Absolutely.
About the need of people. So I mean, I'm all for that as well.
Absolutely. I think it's always nice, as we know. I mean, with the internet, social media, websites, and things like that, it's so helpful for there's good and evil and everything, and we know the bad side of things, and with all of this, but there's also the good side of things, where people can connect to important groups that they need to talk to, and have dialogues with, and have discussions with, for their own sort of well-being, mental health, and in a very relaxing way. I think this is a very good platform for people's mental health and well-being, because we just keep it real, and we will keep it real, but and keeping it real may not always be what young people want to hear, but information is, and knowledge is power, they say. Sometimes just actually understanding how things work is a stress releaser. because sometimes we can all, with our human mindset, can all think like things are not fair or things are unfair and the world's against us or certain things are against us. We can all do that.
Yeah, we can.
Adults as well as kids, and sometimes just really understanding how things really work, is half of the battle won, but also just networking with other people just to get you through certain challenges is also part of the battle won, because life is about challenges. That's why for us in Big, it's important for us to make sure that we are disseminating that message around developing your resilience. That's one of the key things that we instill in all of our services, the need to develop resilience and develop good personal and social skills. But more importantly, believe in yourself.
Yeah,
you have an X factor. You are special, and it's just for you to believe that and understand where you are special, and make sure that the positive parts of your character is what you use to drive through your life.
Wow. Well, I think that's an excellent place to stop there with a great message from Besty again. Was there anything else you'd like to say, or do you want to end it on that note?
No, I think the other things to talk about Big will come in future series that we're starting with users of Big in some shape or form.
That's going to be very informative, very interesting, and obviously you get to see someone else other than me just on here with you.
Well, I'm going to miss you, Aaron.
I'll be in the background.
You'll be in the background, and we're still hopefully.
I'll be in your ears, mate. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
But Lionel, man, I've enjoyed doing this. It's kind of really strange to sort of say, from where we picked up, we met each other halfway through last year.
Yeah.
And, had the little idea to get this up and running. And then now it's got legs. The first, obviously, playlist, Who is Lionel Best, is complete.
Yeah.
And onwards and upwards.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad to have joined the team.
No, I'm glad that you have joined the team, and I'm glad that we got it going. I had no doubts that we were going to get it going, and we've got it going, and the first series is done. And it's nice to just keep going back. I don't have to keep going on Netflix now and looking at all the other different series on Netflix. I can just focus and concentrate on this series for a while.
It's like a bit of a This Is Your Life for you, huh?
Absolutely. I've had some, as I think I mentioned it to you yesterday when we was doing the other recording, is that, the amount of people that from my past that called me because it brought something back for them, and reminiscing on how we grew up, either from growing up in Osprey Estate or playing football. And I mentioned things like Elms, I've had some really long, fruitful conversations with people because of these episodes.
Yeah, my favorite episode was probably the first one, because obviously we were both pretty green with each other. Like I knew you, but I didn't know you. But obviously through talking to you throughout everything, I've got to know you well, as like obviously the friendship we have outside as well. But obviously, do you know what I mean? Like obviously, obviously I feel like I've known you for years now.
Absolutely. Well, you should do. We've been spending so much time, everything about my life.
Yeah, man. Great stuff, man. And so this will obviously draw a curtain on Who is Lionel Best, but there's going to be so much more stuff coming up. Obviously we're still kind of getting things, in plans, and a few plans solidly, but obviously things are just going to come. Inspiration comes, and I think the next
looking forward to doing it with sorry to cut you there. Forward to doing it with the youngsters. The youngsters keep asking me, like, can I come on the podcast? When are we coming doing the podcast? And they're ready to go. So there's a few youngsters that are already, it'd be nice to get, we've spoken about it here, and get a few, I'm not sure how much we're going to get at any one time, but, we'll get a few different groups on at some point soon, and have some really nice topical conversations with them.
Yeah, get the people on who are trying to represent, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
So the next people you might see will be the people that are involved in the training and programs on the floor. I won't mention them until they're here.
Yeah,
But
yeah. We'll get some of the resources in and probably speak about, you know, why they got involved with Big, what they've got out of it, what they feel they bring to Big, and you know, what Big's ethos has in common with how they see life, and what their aspirations are for Big and beyond.
Wonderful, wonderful. So again, people, as I say in nearly every video, I usually do an outro, but I'm just going to do it now. You know, please like and subscribe the whole, like the videos and give the video some watch time, give it some love for the whole playlist. Obviously, it's now obviously ended, so you've got time to watch it and, you know, take it all in and, you know, show the support for obviously what me and Lionel put together. And yeah, you're going to see many more videos coming up on the channel between myself and Lionel. And thank you again for watching.
Thank you again, Aaron. As
Wonderful
always.
stuff. Thank you, Lionel. See you later. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.